Good morning. I'm sure you are wondering why I'm appearing by video when I am just sitting right there on the front pew. Well, there's a very simple explanation to that question. Your staff has been discussing how we could possibly get you to give your testimony. And maybe this is a way for you by video. We know that many of you are terrified to get behind the podium and to speak in front of the whole group in a live version. By coming to the church, sitting in our little studio with Jason and I, we can video you. This way, if you get off topic or chase the rabbit, as Neil often says, we can edit your testimony and cut it to the time frame that would be allotted. We hope you will be willing to do this, and there is no age limit. Youngsters to oldsters are invited to participate. We encourage you to write out your testimony and practice it. We want you to keep it around 3 to 4 minutes. So let me be first. I accepted Christ at the age of 5 at a revival meeting in our church. And my memory of that night was going to our house after the church service and my dad calling me to his bedroom to make sure that I understood what I was doing. And then I ran out into the living room, and from person to person, I went around and told them, I've been saved. Fast forward to the age of 17, and again during a revival meeting, I felt that God was calling me to serve Him through music. And at that time, I fully intended on it being in full-time music. But a few years later, there were changes. Shirley J. and I moved to Clinton in 1980, where I became the manager of Ken's Pizza. And during this time, I served in voluntary music positions, primarily at Morrison Heights. And in 1981, Sonia joined us. In 96, I went to Briarwood Drive as a bivote music minister. And in 2009, I came here to Pineview. In all my years as a Christian, I haven't always been a good disciple, but God has always been faithful in our times of need. He fed us when we needed feeding. He paid our bills when they needed paying, and He provided jobs when we needed them. One example has a lot of moving parts, but I will greatly shorten it. In the early 1990s, I lost my job to an office closing. It was during this time that God really revealed Himself to our family. Our bills didn't stop. We still needed to eat and really needed a job. We rocked along for just before November until late February or early March without that job. God's hands and feet, His church, was used to take care of us. Overwhelmed, could not describe our feelings as money was provided for food, bills, and a couple even bought our kids Christmas that year. A Christmas tree was even provided, but that's another whole story for another time. And around March, a job was provided through a church member who had the means to offer a position. God is always faithful. I hope that this will encourage you to take this step in sharing your faith. What God has done in your life will be used to help another who may be having a similar experience or just needs to be assured that God has their back. So now, let's continue to worship.